Have you ever held a door open for someone and they just walked right through without a thank you? It's a small thing, but it feels a bit off, right? It's a little signal, a tiny red flag that maybe that person is having a bad day, or maybe they're just not very aware of others. Our own minds, our own psychology can send us similar signals. Tiny red flags about our own behaviors and thought patterns that we often just walk right past. We don't notice them, or we tell ourselves they're not a big deal. But these little flags can point to deeper things. They can show us where we're stuck, what we're avoiding, and how we can grow. Today, we're not talking about other people. We're turning the camera around and looking at ourselves. This isn't about diagnosing anyone with anything. This is just a friendly chat about some common psychological red flags you might be ignoring in your own life. It's all about self-awareness, because noticing these things is the first step to understanding yourself just a little bit better. So let's get into it. Let's start with a really common one. It's the habit of constantly explaining your decisions, especially the questionable ones. This is more than just sharing your reasoning. This is about building a whole court case to justify something you've done, maybe because deep down, you feel a little guilty or foolish about it. We call this rationalization. It's a defense mechanism. Our brain is trying to protect us from feeling bad. Let me tell you about a friend of mine. We'll call her Clara. Clara is wonderful, but she has a complicated relationship with money. She works hard, but she never seems to have any savings. One day, she shows up with a brand new, very expensive designer handbag. I mean, this bag costs more than her rent. And the first thing she does, before I can even say wow, is launch into a full-blown presentation. I know what you're thinking. She started, but you have to understand, my old bag was falling apart. The strap was about to break, and can you imagine if all my stuff fell out in the middle of the street? Plus, this one is made of Italian leather. It's not just a bag, it's an investment. It will last for 20 years. If you divide the cost by 20 years, it's practically free. And I got it on a special promotion. They were giving away a free keychain, so I was actually saving money in a way. Also, I have a big work event next month, and showing up with my old, tattered bag would just look so unprofessional. It could hurt my career. She talked for 5 minutes straight. I hadn't said a word. I was just smiling. But Clara wasn't talking. To me, she was talking to herself. She was trying to convince herself that this impulsive, expensive purchase was actually a logical, responsible, and brilliant decision. Deep down, she knew she couldn't really afford it. She knew that money should have gone to her credit card bill or her savings account. But the feeling of guilt and irresponsibility was uncomfortable. So her brain built this beautiful, logical-sounding fortress of excuses to hide in. That's rationalization in action. Do you ever do this? Do you ever find yourself writing a mental script to justify buying that gadget you didn't need, eating that whole pizza by yourself, or procrastinating on an important project? We all do it sometimes. But when it becomes a constant habit, it's a red flag. It's a sign that you might be consistently making choices that go against your own better judgment. And instead of changing the choices, you're just getting better at explaining them away. Noticing this habit is the first step. You don't have to judge yourself for it. Just notice. When do you feel the need to build a case for your actions? That's valuable information. The next red flag is a tricky one because it looks like a good quality from the outside. It's being the person who is always, and I mean always, helping others, while your own life is quietly falling apart. This is the selfless friend, the rock of the family, the one everyone calls in a crisis. Let's talk about David. David is a superhero to his friends. If your car breaks down at 2 a.m., you call David. If you need help moving a couch, you call David. If you just had a terrible breakup and need to talk for 3 hours, David is your guy. He will drop everything to be there for you. He gives incredible advice. He's patient, he's kind, he's a fantastic listener. His friends all say, "I don't know what I'd do without David." But if you were to follow David home, you'd see a different picture. You'd see a sink full of dirty dishes. You'd see a stack of unopened mail, some of them probably bills, sitting on his counter. You'd see that he's been meaning to fix his own leaky faucet for 6 months. He's so busy solving everyone else's problems that he has no time or energy left for his own. He's late on his projects at work because he was up all night counseling a friend. He eats takeout most nights because he's too exhausted to cook. His life is a collection of things he'll get to later. This isn't just about being a nice person. When it's this extreme, it's often a form of avoidance. It's so much easier to focus on someone else's clear, definable problem than it is to face your own messy, complicated ones. Solving your friend's relationship crisis feels heroic. Figuring out your own budget, dealing with your own feelings of loneliness, or getting your own career on track feels overwhelming and scary. So being the helper becomes a strategy. It allows you to feel useful, needed, and good about yourself without having to do the hard work of looking inward. Your identity becomes the person who helps. But it's a shaky identity because it depends entirely on other people having problems. If you see yourself in this, ask yourself a gentle question. What would happen if you took just 1 hour of the time you spend helping others each week and dedicated it to yourself? To tackling that pile of mail, to planning your meals, to just sitting in silence and asking yourself, how am I really doing? It can feel selfish at first, almost like you're doing something wrong, but it's not. You can't pour from an empty cup. Being a good friend to others starts with being a good friend to yourself. This red flag is a quiet invitation to bring some of that amazing compassion you show to others back home to you. Let's move on to the third red flag. This one is all about time travel. Specifically, it's about constantly looking back at the past and seeing it as a golden age, a perfect time when everything was better. We call this rosy retrospection. It's the tendency for our brains to remember the past as being much better than it actually was. Think about someone you know who peaked in high school, or maybe in college. Let's call him Tom. Tom is in his late 30s now. He has a decent job, a family. But every single time you meet up with him, he brings the conversation back to his college days. "Man, remember college?" he'll say, a dreamy look in his eyes. "Those were the days. No real responsibilities. We'd just play video games all night and then go to that cheap pizza place. The parties were legendary. The classes were so interesting. Everything was just simpler, better. Life made sense back then." What Tom is forgetting is the other stuff. He's forgetting the crushing anxiety he felt before exams. He's forgetting the time he had his heart broken. He's forgetting how broke he was, living off instant noodles. He's forgetting the uncertainty he felt about his future. His mind has selectively edited his memories, keeping all the highlight reels and deleting all the boring or painful scenes. Now, a little bit of nostalgia is perfectly normal and can even be nice. It connects us to who we were, but it becomes a red flag when you live there. It becomes a problem when you use your idealized past as a weapon against your present. By constantly saying the past was perfect, what you're really saying is the present is terrible. This habit prevents you from finding joy and meaning in your life right now. You can't appreciate your current job because it's not as fun as your college classes. You can't enjoy a quiet evening with your family because it's not as exciting as the parties you used to go to. You're comparing your real, complicated, messy present to a fake, simplified, perfect past. And in that comparison, the present will always lose. This is a form of escapism. It's a way to avoid engaging with the challenges and opportunities of your current life. If you find yourself constantly saying, "Those were the days," it might be a sign that you're dissatisfied with your today. The invitation here is to practice mindfulness, to try and find small moments of good in your life as it is right now. Maybe your job isn't a party, but perhaps you have a co-worker who makes you laugh. Maybe you're not a carefree student anymore, but maybe you have the comfort of a home you've built for yourself. The past is a place of reference, not a place of residence. Noticing this red flag can help you gently pull yourself back into the only moment that's truly real, which is this one. Here's another one that can cause a lot of friction in life. The intense burning need to be right in every single disagreement, no matter how small. This isn't about a healthy debate or standing up for your principles. This is about turning a simple difference of opinion into a battle for survival. Let's imagine a couple, Anna and Ben. They are planning a vacation. Anna says she remembers reading that the flight to their destination is 5 hours. Ben says he's pretty sure it's closer to 6. Now, this is a very small detail. It's a piece of information that can be checked on a phone in about 10 seconds. It doesn't really matter who is right, but for Ben, it matters. It matters a lot. He says, "No, it's definitely 6 hours. I flew there a few years ago. I remember." Anna replies, "Well, I just saw an article last week that said 5. Instead of just saying, "Okay, let's check," Ben doubles down. "You must be remembering wrong. Maybe you're thinking of a different destination. I have a really good memory for these things. It's 6 hours." The conversation starts to get tense. It's no longer about the flight time. It's about who is right and who is wrong. Ben cannot let it go. He needs Anna to admit that he is correct. He might even get a little angry or dismissive. Why? Is it because the 1 hour difference will ruin their vacation? No, it's because for someone who needs to be right all the time, being wrong feels like a personal failure. It feels like a threat to their ego, to their sense of intelligence and competence. Deep down, this behavior often comes from insecurity. People who are genuinely confident in their intelligence don't need to prove it at every turn. They are comfortable with being wrong sometimes. They know that being wrong doesn't make them stupid. It just makes them human. But for someone with a fragile ego, admitting, "Oh, you were right," feels like admitting, "I am less than you." So they argue about the flight time, or the right way to load the dishwasher, or the name of an actor in a movie with the intensity of a lawyer in a courtroom. They will not back down. It's exhausting for them, and it's exhausting for the people around them. It turns partnerships into competitions and conversations into contests. If you recognize this pattern in yourself, if you feel that hot surge of adrenaline when someone contradicts you over something small, just pause. Ask yourself, what is really at stake here? Is it more important for me to be right, or for me to maintain a peaceful, loving connection with this person? Often, the need to be right is about protecting yourself. But sometimes, the strongest thing you can do is let go. It's a quiet act of confidence. It's saying, "My self-worth is not on the line here. The next red flag is a habit of thinking called all or nothing thinking. It's also sometimes called splitting. This is when you see things in black and white. People are either angels or demons. Situations are either perfect successes or total failures. There is no middle ground, no shades of grey. Let me give you an example. Meet Sarah. Sarah starts a new diet. On Monday, she eats a perfect salad for lunch and goes to the gym. She feels amazing. She thinks, this is it. I'm going to be so healthy. I'm nailing this. It's perfect. She sees herself as a total success. Then, on Tuesday afternoon, there are cookies in the office break room. She resists for a while, but then she has one. Just one cookie. But in Sarah's all-or-nothing mind, that one cookie is a catastrophe. She doesn't think, okay, I had a cookie. No big deal. I'll just get back on track. She thinks, I've blown it. The whole diet is ruined. I'm a complete failure. I have no willpower. I might as well just eat the whole box now and order a pizza for dinner. She has split the situation. It went from being a perfect success to a total failure in the space of a single cookie. This applies to people, too. Sarah might start a new job and think her boss is the most incredible mentor in the world. He's supportive, smart, and inspiring. He's perfect. An angel, then one day, the boss gives her some constructive criticism on a report she wrote. It's not mean or harsh, just professional feedback. But for Sarah, the angel suddenly becomes a demon. She thinks, I was wrong about him. He's so critical. He's trying to undermine me. I can't believe I ever trusted him. The boss went from all good to all bad, with no room for the reality that he is likely just a normal human being with good qualities and flaws. This kind of thinking is a trap. It sets you up for constant disappointment, because nothing and no one can ever live up to the all good or perfect standard. And it makes you incredibly hard on yourself, because a single mistake turns you into a total failure. Real life happens in the gray areas. Healthy eating includes the occasional cookie. Good bosses sometimes have to give feedback you don't like. Good friends sometimes make mistakes. Success is a messy journey of ups and downs, not a straight line. If you notice yourself using words like always, never, perfect, or ruined, it's a tiny signal that you might be stuck in all or nothing thinking. The challenge is to find the and. I am trying to be healthy, and I sometimes eat cookies. My boss is very supportive, and he gave me some tough feedback today. Finding the an is finding the gray area. It's finding reality. Finally, let's talk about our last red flag for today. It's a very modern one. It's the trap of being constantly, performatively busy. I'm not talking about just having a lot to do. I'm talking about using busyness as a shield. Think about Mark. If you ask Mark how he is, he will always say the same thing. Busy, so busy, swamped, just buried in work. He says it almost with a sense of pride, like it's a badge of honor. His calendar is packed from morning to night. Work meetings, then the gym, then a side project, then dinner with friends, then responding to emails until midnight. There is not a single unscheduled moment in his day. On the surface, Mark looks incredibly productive and successful. But what is he so busy running from? If you could get Mark to sit still in a quiet room for just 10 minutes, with no phone, no TV, no task to do, he would feel a surge of pure panic. Because in the silence, the things he is using busyness to avoid would start to creep in. The feeling that he's not really happy in his job, the loneliness he feels despite being surrounded by people, the grief over a past relationship that he never really processed. Busyness is the perfect distraction. It's a socially acceptable anesthetic. If you are always rushing, always producing, always performing, you don't have time to feel. You don't have time to check in with yourself. Your sense of self-worth becomes tied to your productivity. I am busy, therefore I am important. But the human soul needs quiet moments to breathe. It needs moments of boredom to spark creativity. It needs stillness to process emotions and gain clarity. Chronic busyness is a sign that you might be terrified of what you'll find in that stillness. It's a red flag that you are running from your own inner life. If your life feels like a frantic race from one task to the next, consider this an invitation to schedule an appointment with yourself. Literally, block out 30 minutes in your calendar, and in that time, your only task is to do nothing. Maybe you go for a walk without listening to a podcast. Maybe you just sit and look out a window. It will feel uncomfortable at first. You'll feel the urge to grab your phone or find something to organize. Resist it. Just be with yourself. That is where real self-awareness begins. So, there we have it. A few red flags from the world of psychology that might be wavering in your own life. The constant need to justify your actions. Being the helper who never helps themselves. Romanticizing the past. The need to be right in every argument. All or nothing. Thinking. And using busyness as a shield. Remember, seeing these flags is not a reason to judge yourself. It's the opposite. It's an act of kindness. It's you showing up for you. It's you being willing to say, hey, I see this pattern. I wonder what that's about. That curiosity is the start of everything. It's how we learn, how we grow, and how we build a life that is not just a performance, but a true and honest reflection of who we are. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Take care of yourselves.